Now, thankfully, that doesn't happen anymore. Our current system has many flaws that could end up having a similar result. For instance, nowadays, juror wheels are usually computerized lists gathered from voters' registration cards as well as driver's license records. The problem there, as you might imagine, is that not everybody's registered to vote, and unfortunately, not everyone owns a car or even have a driver's license. And the exclusions don't stop there. Many states ban folks for having a felony conviction. And let's not even talk about the low pay that folks get when they actually do serve on a jury. But the reality of it is the pay is so low that for lower income people, it really has an adverse effect based off of the fact that they have to miss a day of work. And so lower income people are in a position where they unable to afford to take part in a process that should be afforded to all Americans, both of which disproportionately excludes people of color. So inherently, the system is already biased. And that's before you get into the mistakes that can be made by the jury summoning system, which, to be fair, can sometimes be very funny. Now, there are plenty of examples, which I won't bore you with many of them, I'll tell you a couple, but in the age of technology, you would think that if there are companies out there that are tasked at making this process more efficient and making sure that certain errors aren't made, to hear some of these mistakes is, nothing short of laughable. But one example is a doozy out of Allen County, Indiana, where a company by the name of SCT, if I remember correctly, but there was a kerfuffle there where they had a system that was supposed to work through a list of alphabetical townships that were programmed to go through the list until it reached 10,000 names. But unfortunately, what ended up happening was, coincidentally, 75% of the African Americans living in Allen County lived in Wayne Township, actually. So essentially, what that meant was that those folks had roughly half the chance of potentially being selected to serve on a jury than a random system would be able to produce. So this would produce another shining example where alphabetization fails us. Now, the reason why we know of this particular case and a few other cases is because of the legal action of the individuals that were actually convicted that decided to sue. And in this case, what was revealed was that it wasn't as much as a error in terms of someone programming it incorrectly. It was a conscious decision and move that was made by a part-time college student that was tasked with creating this system that would be used by the courts. So what his intentions were, we don't know, but could he have been a potential white supremacist? Possibly. And that was his way of sort of going along to get along and to, stick it to whoever he has an issue with. So that was very fascinating to find out. Now, I'm not going to lead you into the wormhole that is all the systems that are involved in creating these programs or algorithms, which are very important and really have been involved in every aspect of our lives, from everything from social media and how we interact with it, or to even watching videos online, which is something that everyone does today. But I am of the belief that these algorithms are created on the front end, and individuals that create them have so much power. Now, the problem is we don't know, or that information isn't readily available in terms of these companies that are contracted to create these programs, what their rationale and how they go about creating these algorithms, because they say these are trade secrets. And it seems that the courts agree. Now, these are the same courts that out of 50 states, 39 fail to provide access to jury data. So wrap your mind around that. And mind you, all of this is before jurors are actually selected to sit on a jury. Yes, folks, things can, and often do, get worse. Because prosecutors are humans, and so they tend to exclude black jurors. Sometimes it's out of an implicit bias, and at other times it's out of a bias that is pretty darn tootin' explicit. Now, I gotta take you to this video. It's a leak training video of a Philadelphia DA addressing a room full of prosecutors and essentially telling them who they should avoid on a jury.
Another factor, I'll tell you, if in selecting blacks, again, you don't want the real educated ones. Again, this goes across the board of all races. You don't want smart people. And again, but if you're sitting down and you're going to take blacks, you want older blacks. In my experience, black women, young black women, are very bad. There's an antagonism, I guess, maybe because they're downtrodden on two respects. They got two minorities, they're women and they're blacks, and so they're downtrodden on two areas, and they somehow want to take it out on somebody, and you don't want it to be you.